The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, can everybody hear me? It's Esther Mojiroshi speaking from ICLEI World Secretariat. Okay, as I see, yes. Welcome everyone, first of all. The goal of this webinar today is to talk about the new Transformative Action Programs Call, which was just announced in San Francisco early September. You received most of the information. It's just based on your questions I received, and also based on the questions I received from potential applicants. I thought it's good if we go through on a few things, highlighting, for example, the eligibility criteria, what is new comparing to the call we had in 2015, to go through quickly the new application form we developed for this call, and also to show you the new visuals we also developed now, and to talk about the next steps and also your involvement and engagement. And of course, I'm happy to answer your questions. Regarding the mission of the Transformative Actions Program, nothing changed regarding the 2015 call. The mission is still enabling access to finance to scale up local climate action. The wording changed a bit because we now use the terminology low to no emission, not only accelerating low emission and climate resilient development. Another change is that this call now focuses explicitly on infrastructure projects. Still, as in 2015, the transformative impact is very important. How all this happens, what is very important, and we try to emphasize it in all our communication materials, and please also do when you talk to potential applicants, to say, avoiding fake expectations that ICLEI itself has no funding on its own. The Transformative Actions Program means that ICLEI, we commit to explore ways to access finance and use innovative financing mechanisms and models. But what we do here is this matchmaking role and mapping opportunities. What is also new, we have a different partnership now than in 2015. So far, we have 8 partners confirmed, and with them, the memorandum of understandings are still underway, but our definite goal is that we define tailor-made services offered by our partners, and these services can cover different things like capacity building or coaching, project preparation facilities, or it can mean that they provide another platform where we can promote our projects. The TAP is also a platform. It hasn't changed as it was also previously. We offer here promoting projects seeking finance. They are displayed in a unified way, so structured in a way which can be easier for potential investors. Here our plan is to use more filtering options as it is now. So we would like, for example, to have one filter on the project status. Here we want to use the project status, which is used by other financial institutions, and also we are thinking about indicating the budget of the project. The TAP remains, as it was, an advocacy instrument, very importantly to show the local demand for project finance, also the diversity and the amount. As an advocacy instrument, there is a big emphasis from our side also promoting the multi-level governments. And of course, yeah, this promotion happens at many international events, which we would also like you as regional office to do. And we also asked our partners to do so. Regarding the eligibility criteria, the project has to be submitted by a local or some national government or their partners. Here the key condition is that the local or the regional government has to be the key stakeholder. And as I already mentioned, this time we focus on infrastructure projects, and we do a screening on the transformative impact of the project. The three main elements remained that the project has to be ambitious, cross-cutting, and inclusive. But if you remember in the concept, you could read already how much more detailed now is our transformative criteria as it was in 2015. And this also reflects in the application form where we have also very detailed questions on that. So the application process also changed a bit comparing to 2015. You might have noticed that also the website changed a bit, and we are still working on the website. The recent call was announced in San Francisco on the 13th of September, and this call will be open until the 10th of November 2018. So it's a very short time this year to send the applications. And later on, we plan to have an announcement each year. What is a change is that the application form can be downloaded after the registration. So interested applicants have to register first, which they can on our website, and then within 1 or 2 days they get a confirmation if the registration is approved or not. And once it is approved, here we check mainly if the person who would like to register is a local or a regional entity or municipal company or project partner. So for the registration criteria, those are the main criteria. So, and once the registration request is approved, then they can download the application form, and then the application form shall be submitted. Oh, sorry, it is mistyped here. I will correct to the tap@iclei.org email address. The application form itself also changed comparing to 2015. We harmonized it with the SOURCE, the C40, the CDP, and the Felicity application forms. Many times we even use the same questions they use. What is a big difference comparing to those? It's that we have detailed questions on the transformative impact. At the moment, the application form is available only in English, but we are working on the Spanish version. And yeah, here we would also like to ask your help that you have the potential project applicants with the translation and to fill out the form. But in the future, yeah, we would like that the application form is available in more languages than only English. I will come back to the application form in details, but what I also wanted to show you as novelty, the TAP visuals. Here we have a new visual on the TAP steps. There are 3 steps. Step 1 is, of course, the application itself. Then here at ICLEI World Secretariat, we do an early stage project screening. It means that we will check here the completeness of the application, and we will check here also the transformative approach of the application. Those who don't fulfill those criteria, we will give feedback and also suggestions for the improvement, how to improve their application. Then, as a step 2, the projects who were screened as complete and transformative, they get a TAP seal of approval, and at this moment they also gain visibility via our online platform. Also, after this stage, the project will have access to the TAP services, as mentioned before, offered by the TAP partners, again, based, of course, on funding available. The partner, so the step 3 itself, it's already the services, and the partners can be either technical partners, either financial partners, either both. As it was on the previous slide, maybe this service means that the project can access also to other platforms and other project preparation facilities. Another visual is the new 4 pillars. The number remained. It used to be 4 pillars, if you remember, also in 2015. Still, we changed a bit the design, as well as we aligned it with the 3 steps you've just seen on the previous slide. So the content now reflects those 3 steps, meaning we have in the pipeline the project submission and early stage project scanning with the feedback and recommendations for improvement if needed, and the TAP approval. The second pillar is the services offered by the partners, offering tailor-made services or financial support, or linked to toolkits and guidance. The third pillar is the platform, which is to display the TAP projects online and also to connect to other online platforms, promoting the TAP projects, but also promoting our TAP partners, sharing good practices and successful access to finance. And the fourth pillar is the advocacy, which I mentioned. The visibility is a key activity here, promoting TAP and the TAP projects at different events, and also to contribute to achieve the Paris Agreement targets and the Sustainable Development Goals. We also have specific questions on that in the TAP application form now. With the TAP, we would also like to promote the multi-level governance. And of course, we also call and promote different financing mechanism which work very well at local level. Regarding more visuals, you all received the media toolkit, which we ask you to use and share on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever social media sources you use. We are working on a leaflet, which should be ready basically today, I guess. After that, I can also share that with you. And there is also a PDF document on the call itself, which we are also finalizing today, and I will share with you today or on Monday latest. Those documents, please, and all these visuals, please feel free to use and promote. I don't know if you have any questions at this stage before we start to go into details regarding the application form. Okay. As I see no questions, then I continue with the application form. So as mentioned, this application form is harmonized with the application form used by C40, CDP, SOURCE, and the Felicity, and with very detailed questions on the transformative impact. So the first part is just gathering very general information on the project. Here I filled the application form just using a fictive non-existent project just to show you what the content we are expecting to each answer. So here as a project title, I used the master plan for mobility with bicycles. And the project submitter, it makes sense only if it's different from the city. So for example, if it's a municipal company, a project partner, otherwise you define it, the location, the city, and the country. Then the next question is on the type of the organization. Here you can choose between regional or local government, municipal company, or other. If other, then you have the opportunity to clarify. Then we ask if your organization is the project lead. Here you can choose between yes and no answers. Here I clicked on yes, but if the answer is no, then here you have to also list the members of the consortium. Then the next question is, if you are not the lead, then which entity or organization is responsible for managing the project? This question is, for example, relevant if you are a municipal company, but the key stakeholder in the project is the local government. Then we gather information on the project manager itself. I think it's pretty much clear. Here we ask the title, the name, the email address, the position, the organization. And then we have two questions on if the city, town, or region is a member of ICLEI. It's also a yes/no answer. And we also ask if it's a GCOM member. This information we would like to know because Of course, ICLEI cities or ICLEI network cities, they always, we would like to give them, of course, always priority. But that's the only reason why we are collecting here this information. Then we changed a bit the sectors on the application form to the previous one, as now we are focusing only on infrastructure projects. In this case, this is transport. And then the climate focused can be mitigation, adaptation, or both. In our case, I clicked now mitigation. And then we ask about the stage of the development of the project, so the project status. And we try to keep it simple using the categories also used by other organizations. It can be either the project identification phase or pre-feasibility studies, feasibility studies, or pre-implementation final design phase. We stopped here because we would like to focus on the project preparation. For this demo project, I ticked the project identification phase. Then we ask information on the estimated total cost, the amount of budget secured, the estimated volume of total investment, and we ask all this information in the local currency. We were hesitant if to use here euro or the US dollar, but at the end we agreed on using the local currency because for us it's easier if you transfer this money to euro or to US dollar or to whatever currency it's needed by the funding institution. And then we ask information on the project pipeline in the number of months. Then for this general part, we ask information about the project itself, but here at this stage, we only need information very briefly on the project scope, on the project objectives, on the expected impacts. But yeah, as you see, it's maximum 500 words. I used here only 178, and for example, a description like this would be already enough for us. Then continuing with the transformative impact of the project, here above you can see the definition of transformative and then the detailed questions. So under ambitious, we have questions if the project is in line with the Paris Agreement, how it contributes to cut the global greenhouse gas emissions to meet the 2 degrees or to the 1.5 degrees goal. We have questions on how the project increase the ability to adapt to the adverse impacts of climate change and foster climate resilience at the local level. And as you see here, we all keep it like 50 words. It's always, the words are always counted on the right side. Here we really expect very short answers. So as you see, at question 1.3, I was even too long with 62. Under ambitious, a very important question for us if the project addresses the Sustainable Development Goals. Here, our main criteria is that the project either has to take the goal 11, which is the sustainable cities and communities, or the climate action. It can, of course, take more than those, but at least either goal 11 or the goal 13 has to be ticked here. Regarding the cross-cutting issues, we would like to know the number of the population who would benefit from the project. Here we use categories, which is also used by the European Investment Bank. So that's how we have these numbers here. And then we ask if the project is scalable. It's a simple yes and no answer. Regarding the local benefits, we have a really detailed list you can see, but this is exactly the list what we have in the CCR, so it's nothing new. We use exactly the same list here. Then the fourth question is if the project considered to use consider the resource efficiency, sustainable energy. So, for example, in this bike path, I would expect something like there will be energy efficient lighting along the path and energy efficient devices installed, maybe also a strategy for the waste management. The holistic approach is if when the project was developed, if other sectors and other added values, multi-sectoral benefits were taken into consideration. In our case, there are many multi-sectoral benefits like transport, energy, education, health. Here, of course, a more detailed answer would be appreciated. Then we also ask if the project has a comprehensive risk management, and yeah, so it's also always yes, no answer, and then if the answer is yes, then we always ask you to specify. And the third big criteria for the transformative impact is the inclusive part. Here we would like to know if the project developers also engage the stakeholders and the community, how they participated in the project development, if there were consultations, how they were involved. And we would also like to know here how the citizens will benefit from the project short and mid-term. The third question is on how specifically the disadvantaged and the vulnerable communities will benefit from the project, if it's targeting poverty alleviation, addressing the urban poor, unemployed, elderly, youth, women, and so on. And the last question on this transformative part, if the project reached out to local businesses and industries, so if it already explored the involvement of the local businesses. The next question is they ask more about the country, the regional and the local context. So here the questions are if there were already a sustainable development plan or any plan at national level, at regional or at local level. And if yes, then yeah, very briefly to describe the main findings of that strategy and the main goals. And it's to understand better also to regulatory and the institutional framework. Of course, here we would like to hear about the NDCs, of course, if it does exist, or a climate action plan is on place, for example. We also ask in this section about the project management and the governance. So questions like with whom consists of the project team, who are the primary stakeholders of the project, and how the governance structure look like. And the last section is on the different studies and analyses. As I clicked at the beginning that it's still the scoping phase. I suppose that nothing is ready yet, but here we ask about the pre-feasibility studies, the technical feasibility, the financial feasibility, and also about the environmental impact assessment. In each case, we always ask if there is already a study available. So it's always a yes/no answer. And if yes, then we would like to see a few words on the results of that study. And if there is no study available yet, then we have a question in each section asking if you are seeking funding for this assessment, so for the pre-feasibility or the technical feasibility or your financial feasibility studies. The part on the financial feasibility is a bit more detailed than the other ones. Here, besides these questions, we also would like to know what types of financing our project applicant is thinking about, would like to get. So here again, we use the categories which are used by the other organizations. There is also a new question regarding the return on investment, which is a very important number for the investors, though it is in many cases very difficult to calculate. So the return of investment, this ROI, is the difference between the gain from investment and the cost of investment. But also, for example, in this project case, the bikeways, it is something very difficult to calculate, and in many cases, it's very difficult to specify. Then here we also would like to know if the project applicant is able to co-finance this project. This is already partly answered already when we gather the general information of the project, but here, of course, there is place to write even more and more details about that. And for us, it's also very important information to know if the project applicant already approached any financing institution, also that we don't duplicate work here. And then just the last two questions. One question is on the legacy and the sustainability of the project, where we would like to hear how it is envisioned a scale-up or a repetition of the project, how will be the maintenance and the operation of the project after implementation. And the last question on additional remarks, here we of course give the opportunity for the applicants to write anything or ask their questions. I don't know if you have any questions on this or on
hi,
the
Evgenia has posted a question. She's asking how long would it take to fill out the form, provided the city already has the information needed.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I honestly don't think it takes that long. We really don't expect too long answers. To me, to prepare this demo, it took like an hour. So I definitely think it's more for a city, but I don't think it would take more than few hours to fill this form out. We tried to make it as simple as possible, wherever it was possible to have the ticking options or a scroll down option, and yeah, and as you see, just saying that you can write like 50 words or 100 words, it's really not much. It's maximum one paragraph. So we really don't expect to detail too long answers here. So I don't think it takes more than few, maybe a day to fill out, but definitely not more. I wouldn't think so. Anyone else? Any
Sarah
other
has
questions?
raised her hand. I will unmute her so she can ask her.
Okay.
Hi. Thank you so much for the webinar. I have quite a number of questions that I hope that I can all to you. Not too many, hopefully. The first one, just I've also written it in the chat, is just the significance of the return on investment question. Given that a number of projects will be very difficult to come up or calculate the return on investments, and also will the local governments or the applicants be required to provide the methodology or proof that they use to generate that number? The second question. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, maybe I just reply that. Honestly, I also have difficulty having this question there personally, because I know how difficult it is, and it's not something I would like to, for example, put a big emphasis on in our scoring sheet. But talking to the banks and talking to different financial institutions, potential funders, this question always comes. So from our side, in our screening, it will not be a main criteria, but wherever this number is available, I would like to have it, because maybe in some cases we can show good numbers, and then it's really a good basis when we talk to the financial institutions. But I know it's very difficult, so yeah. I really just would like to have this number when it's available. Yeah.
When it's available, okay. But it's good to know that it's actually not a main criteria within your screening process. So
no, because I know that in many projects it's not even possible to give this number. So
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay, great. And then my second question is around the delivery of the application form. We tried to register on the TAP website and get the application form. And we registered on Wednesday, and we still haven't been sent the application form. Is there a way that you could maybe make it so that the application forms are sent immediately after registration?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I have to check with our technical team if it's doable or not, but honestly, personally, I haven't found it difficult to download the form. I mean, so once you get the login permission, I mean, it's just one click to download. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, but we can talk about it. Internally, I will check with our knowledge management team if we can make it maybe even more easy. But to me personally,
yeah,
I didn't find it difficult as it is now.
Yeah.
But if of
I
course,
think maybe then it's just the time that it takes then from registration to being provided the login details.
Okay. So that was too long time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That we can definitely accelerate. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
great. Thank you.
No, it's yeah. That point is taken.
Okay, thank you. And then so on the alignment of the projects, do the projects that are the proposals that you put in, do they have to align with national priorities? And then also there's the question on the form that says, do your projects align with a 2-degree or a 1.5-degree world or trajectory? And I was just wondering, so firstly, do projects have to align with national priorities? And secondly, how do you know if the projects align with 2 degrees or 1.5 degrees?
Yes, so the national plans. I mean, I think it's just also easier. It's not necessarily our requirement. I think it's just much more easier also for the project to justify if it's already aligned with national plans. And also, as we use TAP as advocacy instrument, and we always promote this multi-level governance. For us, of course, it's always a plus. We can show, that it's all aligned. But basically, it's I just think also beneficial for the project to be like that. And regarding your question on this, on the Paris Agreement and the 2 degrees or 1.5 degrees goal, we definitely would like to show that the project is in line with the goals of the Paris Agreement and the Sustainable Development Goals. So that's. I mean, I wouldn't say that here if someone is not would get 0 on the score sheet, but this is really important. These 2 things are really important for us to show.
Sorry, so maybe I can just clarify my question there. No, I completely agree with you that it's important to show, but my question is rather how do you know as an applicant if your project is aligning with the 2-degree or the 1.5 degree goal? How do you justify whether or not your project is aligned?
Yeah, so here in this sample project, I just wrote the number of the expected emission reduction of the year. And so how in CO2 tons and also in percentage, I think if we already see there a significant number, it's already good for us. But we would like to see that there are serious greenhouse gas emission reduction targets set.
Maybe, Esther, if I could jump in, I think it would be helpful. Of course, one can never say what the exact contribution of each individual project is. I think the intention is to show in this text box that the project is linked or part of the the climate action plan or the sustainable development plan of the submitting city or region, and that it definitely aims to be as ambitious as it can, if it is a mitigation project, to reduce emissions, where people who submit could just give a hint or an indication. Let's assume it's a renewable energy project or an energy efficiency project, that they can give at least an estimation of kilowatt hours that will be reduced or switched to fully running on renewables, or something in that line. I think we can maybe give in our pre-populated example more clear text to sort of give people a bit better guidance on what we're looking for there.
Okay.
In some cities are starting to develop projects or programs or action plans that show how it is aligned to the two degrees pathway. So where that happens or will take place, and very soon we will also be working with WWF on exactly that, then it becomes a bit more concrete, and then there are actually ways of checking. But at this stage, we'll just make our guidance a bit more robust.
Okay, thank you. That would be very helpful. And I just have one last question, if time allows. It's just on the capacity of the help desk, and I noticed that you're planning to have a live filter on the platform to show whether or not projects have been successful or not. And I was just wondering, how long do you think it would take to provide feedback back to the applicants once they have submitted an application? Or will this be done live on the platform straight away with this new filter?
Yeah, so we will do this first screening, right, at the World Secretariat. And of course, it depends also on the number of applications, how fast we can do that. And it depends, of course, on our capacity. The feedback for improvement we will not do online. So if we would like the project applicant to improve the project regarding the transformative impact on or the completeness of the project application form, we would like to communicate with the applicant through you or directly with the applicant, so that will not be online. I really hope that this screening process will not take more than 1 or maximum 2 months, definitely no longer.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Anyone else?
There is another question from Evgenia. Evgenia, I'll unmute you, so you're unmuted.
Sure. Maybe I missed that point in the beginning of the webinar. I'm sorry for that, Esther. I was just wondering if we can communicate already what is envisioned for the first generation of TAP applications. Anything special or any process we want to do for them?
Yes, that's a very good question. You haven't missed, because I haven't mentioned yet, but it's important to talk about. We are working now on dividing those projects regarding hard infrastructure and soft infrastructure projects, as now our main focus is on the hard infrastructure projects. So this list shall be ready in the following days. But what and where I really need the help of the regional offices is to help to update this project list to see once this list is divided, if we shall keep these projects in the pipeline or delete. And if you say, yes, we shall keep this project in the pipeline, and if it's a hard infrastructure project, then we will start to explore the opportunities to find the right partners, technical, financial, and to move those projects. So they are definitely not forgotten projects. It's just now we are changing a bit the priority, and yeah, we cannot focus on all of them, but we definitely would like to support the ones which are hard infrastructure projects and which is confirmed by the regional offices, or if the regional office says that they have no capacity to check with the cities if they want to stay in this pipeline or not, and they give us the permission that we can check with them directly, then of course we are happy to do that. It's just we don't want to, of course, jump over the cities. But so this list which remains there, those list of cities we are planning to work with.
And there is another question from Carla.
Okay.
Carla, I've unmuted you.
Thanks, Flavia. No, I just wanted to know, in the case for the cities that don't have all the information, how should this be approached? So should they be encouraged to still report a project to the TAP or not?
It depends how much information is missing. You mean not the new applicants? If they can, you mean if a new applicant cannot answer all these questions, or?
Yes. If some of the information is not available, but they still want to put their project, maybe they will do it later.
Yeah. Yeah, I said. Here at the World Secretariat, we will check the completeness and the transformative impact. So yeah, ideally all questions are answered, but maybe if some questions are missing, but we still have a full picture and a good understanding on the project, it's already enough for us. If not, then we will give written feedback, containing suggestions on how to improve the application. So if there is a really solid and good project idea, I would suggest to apply. Yeah. But then, yeah, if it's very incomplete, it definitely will not be approved right away. So maybe then it will be sent back. They will have to work on that, and then maybe it will be approved at a later stage. So, or maybe in the next round of applications.
Okay.
Just a recommendation, Esther. Maybe, of course, we know that many local and regional governments might struggle to complete the form quite comprehensively. So this is also for us an indication, even if it might, so for us, I think it would be in any case interesting to get those applications, but clearly then we would need to define some form of capacity building or technical assistance for them to make even their application more robust. So I would tend to say for this year, let's not mobilize these kinds of projects, but definitely for next year. The moment we actually have established a proper funding line where our ICLEI staff time is funded, I think we should mobilize these kinds of projects, because this is where we know the bulk of the project ideas would be in that non-robust level. But for 2018, I would highly recommend only mobilizing a very few number of projects, and these should be to the best possible quality that that exist. Ideally, they could then very well go into project preparation facilities where we have the partnership in place. But if they're not robust enough, this year is not the year to submit.
Mm.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, if there is no more question, then only one more thing from my side, our side, that already before the announcement in San Francisco, I tried to set up bilateral calls with the regional offices, and I definitely would like to continue that because to me it seems to be the best way to work, to really talk about it through how you see your role for your regional office in the TAP, to think together, to define activities, to see your engagement, commitment, your question, understand your questions. So really to work and think together. So I will again send out emails asking for these bilateral calls and your availability for those calls. And we really would like to need your help with the project list, as mentioned. So the 2015 project list, we will try to cut and streamline it here in the World Secretariat as much as possible, but certain information only you, the regional offices, have. So there we really count on you or to get your permission that we can contact those cities directly. So depending on your wish and capacity, but we really need some feedback there. So if no more question, then I would like to thank your attention. And this webinar was recorded. I will share the link with you. You can share with your colleagues who couldn't attend this time. And as promised, as soon as our other communication materials are ready today, tomorrow, the leaflet and also this PDF on the call, I will also share with you. Okay, so I see no more question. Thanks again for attending the webinar, and I wish you a very nice weekend.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.